Pisha to datri 2011 شاريلي أسيريا تيفي بفروسيفي وموزا بناو هاوي أسيريا تيفي أوقولو حيرو وأوقولو شاريو دوعا موسريو ببريثو وأوني شد أسيريا تيفي دماحت فرجونو بوفوكوس ودنوقل الطيبة وشوشو تتكون بين دوعا ميذن لبريثو كولا لجن أسيريا تيفت قدر مداوم بوف الحونيذي قلو زملي إم عذرون ثثخو إذا كورحميتو أو شغلت أسيريا تيفي وكوحوزيتو إلصويثد أسيريا تيفي بو حقلو دي ميديا مفصوحين ساقيد معضريتو أسيريا تيفي درب مشحل في كبخم عضريتو أسيريا تيفي كبخو هويتو هادومي بو فيسبوك منيونو تزوزي ناعيمة أو إنقلد رحميتو دهويتو هادومي بو يوتيوب تاموستب منيونو تزوزي ناعيمة كبعيتو دهو والخوميديا تكتلا قولو حيرو ودلاتيو ما صرتو عم قابش وتوسي توكوسي وأوعيتا ووثي مقوايو أسيريا تيفي مقوايو وقولتخو يميديا
Hello, my name is Joseph Pirayou. I want to welcome you to today's program on, in the beginning, Ashur. As always, this is a live program. If you have any questions, comments, you can send it to us. If I can answer it, I will. If not, the future programs like today, which is Q&A, questions and answers. It's a little different today, the program. For about four programs ago, I was going to start to read from this book. I keep showing it to you, the Assyrians and their neighbors. And that's when it hit me before we go into the history of our ancestors, is that why it became important for somebody, this is Dr. Vigram, to write a book about the history of Assyrians, the Ashuri, our people. And I started reading from this book, Gods, Graves, and Scholars, the story of archaeology. And as I mentioned, this book has like 4 civilizations in it, like the Greeks, the Aztecs, Egyptians, and our people. And those 4 programs I talked about who found Nineveh. There was another guy who deciphered these cuneiform writings. Another person, he was able to excavate and find more writings to decipher. Then Layard was the one who found not only Nineveh, he just the palaces and everything that we have now in the world in all these museums like Louvre, the British Museum, Louvre, and in Berlin and Chicago, and Metropolitan New York, and other places, even in our homeland in Iraq of today. So the question and answer today, as I said, is a little different because I will be asking a question from my fellow brothers and sisters regarding the Well, I'll talk about that. You'll see what I'm talking about. But before I do that, I just want to build a foundation on why the subject and where we're going with this. Uh, I just wanted to go through some terminologies that we went through during this last few programs about archaeology, Assyriology. The word logy, Logy, is a study of. So we have Assyriology, which means the study of that subject, or archaeology state study of that subject, biology state study of life. Uh, there is like uh, so many lodges of psychology, thinking. So for myself, sometimes we read these words and we think we know the meaning of it, but I just wanted to clarify some of the meanings that we have here of the some of words that we use here and go through some of the explanations that they're done. The information I have is from Wikipedia. Some people say they're not reliable. My apologies. If you know better, if you know more, you can share that with us. The first one I'm going to go is Assyriology. So let's see what we have here on Wikipedia. I'm just going to read over that, but was very interesting. It says Assyriology from Greek, whatever that alphabet is, Assyria and Logia, also known as cuneiform studies or ancient Near East studies, is the archaeological, anthropological, historical, and linguistic study of the cultures that used cuneiform writings. So Assyriology, they don't say that is about Assyria. It's about the archaeological, anthropological, historical, and linguistic study of the cultures that used cuneiform writing. And they decided to use the word Assyria to cover all of these cultures that used cuneiform writing. That was very interesting. Before, I thought it was Assyriology is the study of Assyria, anything related to archaeological, anthropological, historical, linguistic. But that covers other cultures that use that cuneiform. But they named it Assyriology. That's direction that kind of will be going with this. And there is somebody that is mentioned, the father of Assyriology, and I talked about him a couple of programs ago. Can we have his name? So Sir Henry Creswick Rawlinson, first baronet. So was a British East India Company Army officer, politician, Orientalist, sometimes described as the father of Assyriology. There's more detail about that, but I just wanted to share that, like, this was uh, the field of Assyriology. I guess this is when it started with the excavations and the things that they found in Nineveh and its remains and the surrounding areas. So then we have archaeology that I talked about because it's related to what happened back in mid 1800s with Botha, uh, Rawlinson, Layard. So Wikipedia tells us archaeology means this. So let's see what they have for us, archaeology. Yeah. So it says the study of human history and prehistory through the excavation of sites and the analysis of artifacts and other physical remains. And they have an example. It says it is very rare in archaeology to work on organic materials. So the human study of human history. So it related to human history, prehistory, through the excavation of sites and analysis. So you go dig somewhere, you bring artifacts, and you analyze them and see what they have to say about our past, and they date them 3,000, 4,000, 10,000, 100,000, whatever years ago. So that's archaeology. Now, what was interesting, I found out who's the father of archaeology. I don't think you have any idea who that is. Can we put that on? So this is according to Wikipedia, the father of archaeology. Yeah. No, no, no. The father. Yeah, this one. So who is the founder of archaeology? They don't have father, they have founder. So according to Wikipedia, in ancient Mesopotamia, which is the land between the two rivers, this is our homeland, a foundation deposit of the Akkadian Empire ruler Naram-Sin, who ruled circa 2200 BCE, was discovered and analyzed by King Nabonidus of the Neo-Babylonian Empire circa 550 BCE, who is thus known as the first archaeologist. Now, when I was reading this, couple of things came to my mind. Naram-Sin, based on what I thought I knew, I thought it was a Ashuri king, Assyrian, king of the Assyrian Empire. And it says Akkadian, whatever, it says, but the Nabonidus, the king of the New Babylonian, he is credited with being the first archaeologist that found out about his ancestors who were before him, 1650 years before him, that he was he found the foundation deposit. So that was the thing. It was interesting for me that the first archaeologist would be a Babylonian king going back over 2,500 years ago. The other part was the Akkadian Empire ruler, Naram-Sin. I thought it was Ashuri king. And last but not least, this amazes me that when they put BCE after the year, like 2200 before Common Era or current era or something. I think it says Common. So what is that 20? Is this different than before Christ? It's the same age. It's the same timeline. It's the same date. Nothing's changed. But they have ruled out before Christ, BC. And if it's what they call, they have BCE and they have CE, Common Era. And CE has replaced AD, Anno Domini, the year of the Lord, which is Jesus Christ. So some long time ago, there was a decision made to make the dates in history based on the birth of a certain person, which is Jesus. We want to call him Christ or not, it's up to you, but he is Christ to me. Then some people came and said, we don't like those acronyms like before Christ or year of the Lord. We just put before Common Era so nobody get offended, I guess, or they try to change something, but still is based on his birthday. If it's accurate or not, that's a different story, but it's still related to that person. You change it from BC, before Common Era, to Common Era. Why? If you change the dates, the years, according to some other point of reference, that's fine. So I just wanted to point that out. It wasn't part of the program, but I couldn't help it. All right. What else do we have? One thing that we learned from these books is about what it's called civilization. So let's see civilization. What is the interpretation that they have in Wikipedia for this? Or is it, it's an Oxford dictionary. I'm sorry. So some are from definitions. No, go back to the first one. So this is Oxford Dictionary. It says the stage of human social and cultural development and organization that is considered most advanced. They equated the railroad with progress and civilization. Another one is that the process by which a society or place reaches an advanced stage of social and cultural development and organization. The society, culture, and way of life of a particular area. So it's about social and cultural development, civilization. Then we go to what is called cradle of civilization. That definition that I saw was, we have that, the cradle of civilization. Let's see what the definition is by Wikipedia. A cradle of civilization is a location and a culture where civilization was developed independent of other civilization in other locations. The formation of urban settlements, cities, is the primary characteristic of a society that can be characterized as civilized. That was the main reason, I believe, when Botha, he found where Nineveh was and they started excavating, they used to think that Egypt was the first one, that formation of urban settlements, characteristics of the society, civilized, having laws, system, they follow. So when they found out there is an older, it was like, wow, we have another culture that we found that is not much older, but is older than the Egyptians. And that's when the interest came. And they start digging from many countries. They went to this area, and at that time, it was under the control of the Ottoman Empire before World War I started, and then it dissolved, and these other countries came about. There was no country, Iraq, Syria, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and such. There were none of them existence. Then after Ottoman Empire lost the war, then these countries were mandated. We were supposed to get Iraq for our people. The British had promised us that you fight on our side, we'll take care of you. They won the war, and they gave us the wrong finger. Anyway, so this is what happened. The digging, it showed by the science of archaeology. They dug, they found out, they checked them, they analyzed them, they found out about this culture, and they named it Assyriology, the study of the culture of these cuneiform. It's just, I'm trying to go to that direction, that when these non-Ashuri people got excited about us being the cradle of this civilization, a culture where civilization was developed independent of others, formation of urban settlements, the primary characteristic, we were the cradle of forming these urban settlements. What does that mean? There is a place you can go live, you can do your business, there is a system. It's not that you're living in caves, you get a couple of stones, go attack animals, get food for you. There was a place that everything was provided. You could live, you had everything surrounding at the lower form that we have right now. Maybe they didn't have cars, maybe they had carriage or horse or donkey or whatever, but it was a place that they had a system. They were civilized, our people. And that got these people excited in Europe. Now, what happened? So here I have a few books that came about because of what happened with the digging, with finding the archaeology, checking these people out, finding about these civilizations. See, one thing is that when I talk to some of these people that they're not Ashuri, it's as if we didn't exist until they started digging. Oh, there are these Assyrian or Ashuri. Or... No, we existed. The thing was that the world found out about us. It was like a rebirth of a nation or rebirth of a people to the world, not to us. We were still existing, but nobody cared. Nobody put like, why should we care about these? When this came out, they said, wait a minute, this is Assyria. Then they looked around, and I go with Dr. Vigram first. Books started coming out. This book is called An Introduction to the History of the Assyrian Church, or the Church of the Sassanid Empire, from the year 100 to 640 AD. This came about, what, 1920s? Dr. Vigram wrote this book. Why? And he dedicates this book, actually has to be before that. It's 1913, because it says dedicated to Benjamin Marshuman. He's the one that Simcoe murdered, assassinated. So that was before 1918. So he wrote that book at that time after finding out who the Assyrians were. Actually, Dr. Vigram was sent to our people in Mesopotamia by the order of Archbishop of Canterbury. I don't know if I talked about this or not. Great Britain has a king or queen on top, but has no power. It's like a ceremonial office. Then there are two branches. King or queen is the head of the nation, but the prime minister is the one that takes over the politics and handles everything. King or queen have no say in it. Then the other part of the duty of the king or queen is that they're head of the church. Still, they don't have any ecclesiastical powers. There is that position called Archbishop of Canterbury. He's like the head of the church in practice, not in name. So Archbishop of Canterbury of that time, back in early 1900s, tells Dr. Wigram to go to these people, Assyrians. How did he know about us? The excavations that were made like 30, 40 years before him, and they started interpreting all these things that were found here, are artifacts, or cuneiform writings were deciphered. They learned about us. They said, wait a minute, these people are existing now. Now, I don't know what was the motivation. Some say he sent Dr. Wigram there to lessen the effect of the Roman Catholic that they had on our Chaldeans brothers and sisters. I don't know if that's the case, but we became important. Archbishop of Canterbury sends this great, he was a physician, he was a surgeon, he was a minister, he was like different things that he was doing, and he sent them to our people in the mountains, in the places that they were being killed, attacked by the Kurds on a regular basis, by the Turks on a regular basis. There is a book here I haven't referred to. I have to check this out. Somebody gave it to me. It says it's by Frederick Apre. It says Assyrians, from Bedr Khan to Saddam Hussein, driving into an extinction, the last Aramaic speaker. I wish you would say Ashuri speaker, but that's a different story. So we have history of people killing us, because we are nobody. Whatever they wanted to do, then this excavation, these things came out. They say, hey, wait a minute. No, there's a culture older. The archaeology found out that's the cradle of civilization. Then this field of study was developed, Assyriology. Another thing before I go to these other references is that the cuneiform writings that they found, there were other cultures that they had, Babylonians, even the Persians, but they called it Assyriology. They didn't call it Sumerology. Is there one? I don't know. Akkadians, Fred Applin talks about Aramaic speaking. It's not Arameneology or Armeniology for that. What else? Said Chaldeology, Arameology, Akkadiology, Sumerology. What is the other one? Syriacology, Turkology, Kurdology. Why? Assyriology. There is evidence our empire had, after they found out all this information that they found with the excavation, they say, hey, wait a minute. These people were something. They were something. And for these non-Ashuri, it became such a value. Then they started giving us. If Dr. Wigram wouldn't write about this, how would I know about the church history? Not it wasn't there, but nobody cared. There is this Bakupa camp after our people were from Urmi, the Trek, my grandparents from my mother's side were part of that group. 90,000 left Urmi on the way to Bakupa camp, 30,000 made it. Out of that 60,000 that they were killed or died was my grandparents' firstborn daughter. She was like 7, 8 months old. They buried her there somewhere. Somebody wrote about this. The person was in the camp, what they did, how they developed it, how they built it, the people that were there, what they did. What else do we have here? These are the books that I have. There are much more out there. The story of Assyria. This guy, his name is Ragozin. This is It was in Louisiana. The one that I was telling you I will read from, the Assyrians and their neighbors, Dr. Vigram. Dr. Vigram has another book. Where is that? Our Smallest Ally. See how thin it is? But he wrote about us. Then this other part, this is amazing book. Something about Bible, but missing links discovered in Assyrian tablets. Opened a new door for people that they were denying some of the stories in the Bible. Oh, talk about stories in the Bible. So I had this book. Let me see what date is this. I didn't date this. This is called The Assyrian Invasions and Deportation of Israel. So we had all these kings' names here. Let me see if I can find it. For a long time, it was like, was thought this is just mythology. Oh, that's another mythology. So there was a name of a king, Sargon, another king named Isarhaddon, but we say Sarhaddon. There is another king, Asnapar, which later we find out Ashurbanipal. Then there is another king, Tiklat-Pileser, Hul. These names were mentioned in the Bible of attacking, destroying what they call it, the Israel kingdom. There is a verse in Isaiah chapter 10 or 8. It says, Assyria, the rod of my anger to punish my people Israel. So we have Tiklat-Pileser, Shalmaneser, Sargon, Esarhaddon, Ashurbanipal. These are names that are all mentioned in the Bible, and they were thought about being myth or just pure like stories. These excavations, the archaeologists found out about these people, that they really existed. Now you might not accept the story of what happened with these people, what they did to Israel or not. That's another story. But these kings, by these excavations, they were found to exist, gave more validity to Bible. Now, as we know, our history, a lot of division that we have is caused by these clergy. I put a note here. I don't know if I say it or not, but since we are here, why not? By these selfish SOBs bastards. These are the ones that has, by their own selfish, not being Christ-like, and I've even seen them up even now. Power, control, money, whatever is motivating them. They want to make sure we stay divided and separate. They haven't read their Bible, I guess. Isaiah 19, right? There is a highway from Ashur to Egypt, right? And God will bless us. They haven't read that. That's why I'm like amazed. They should be the ones that really, really the most patriotic of our Ashuri should be these clergy. But they don't read their Bible, but they claim that they have the power with it. But that I didn't want to get into that. I'm sorry, I didn't want to get into that. But the thing is that we have this history that showed about Bible, some of the stories were the kings. What happened? Civilization, cradle, Assyriology, archaeology, all these important was important for people, that all these other books that they came, and I have a very small fraction of these books that are written by non-Ashuri. We were so important. Now, back in time when we were in these Middle Eastern countries, since we had that fear, since we had that pressure, we were like, I'm going to keep my language. I'm going to keep my culture. I'm going to keep my name my son Ashur, my daughter Ashurina, Sargon, Sargina, right? Then we left Iran, Iraq, Syria, Turkey, where majority of our people lived. That fear, that pressure, we go to these Western countries, we start like Australia, New Zealand, European countries, Russia. We have a group in Russia that they've been there a long time. So they have kept their culture from what I know in Arzenia, Armenia. Then in Europe, then you come to the United States, Canada, we have that fear. We had that guard up, no, I'm a Christian, I'm not Muslim, I'm Ashuri, I'm not Kurd, I'm not Turk, I'm not this, I'm not that. Then we come to these countries, we guard, oh, I'm so free. I'm so free that I don't give a bleep about who I am. Just like that, forgetting what they did to us. When was it? 6, 7, 8 years ago? ISIS hit our people in Nineveh, in Mosul. I'm not talking about 100 years ago. Why? Why were they able to do this so easily? Because we had lost this. Actually, the numbers were less in the Middle East because of Iraq and Iran people leaving. The backup wasn't there. The people that left, I'm not saying all of us, but forgot about what is going on with our people in the homeland. So this is where I get to the question to ask my fellow brothers and sisters. Is there a hope for us? Is there a way? I mean, if you're looking for a leader, good luck. There will be one, but I don't know of any true leader leading our people with love, with harmony, with unity. If you know one, let me know. But until then, I believe this responsibility is on the shoulders of every individual of us that truly believe in the future of our people. At least we do it for the sake of those who were before us and they gave their lives. There is that like a story about this old man. I think I've said that before. Maybe it was in the Ashuri language program. There is a really old man in his 70s, 80s, and he's planting walnuts, fresh walnuts. And this guy passing by looks at him and says, hey, grandpa, you're planting walnuts. It takes 10, 15, 20 years for them to give fruit. So you're planting them now. You're expecting to get the fruit of your labor after 15, 20. You think you're going to live that long? He said, no, my brother, my son, before us, they planted so that I would eat. And I'm planting now for the ones who will come after me. What has happened is that the role is now, before us, they planted, so I eat. I'm going to eat, the hell with the ones that come after us. First love. I think we have forgotten our first love, our I don't know if it's the first love, our love. How can we get it? That's my question to you, my brothers, sisters. Somebody used to go to this Bible study. I was reading about that verse from Bible, Isaiah 19, there would be a highway and will be a blessing on the world with Ashur, with the Egyptians and the Israelite and the priests or whatever it was. They would say, it will happen. I said, how? Do you have any reason to believe with the way that we are living right now? I said, no, God will do it. And I was like, I don't want to use the word idiot. You intellectually challenged person. The history of Bible shows that there are miracles. The thing is that we need to take that first step. We move, the blessing will come. We move, the miracle will happen. If I sit on my rear end, nothing will happen. You just keep praying and praying and praying and praying, and you're still sitting there, nothing's going to happen. That's the problem I have with some of these fellow brothers, sister Christians. Oh, God will do it. We need Israel, the nation was established by the people who did something, united, worked, sacrificed, and God blessed them. Now we have a nation, Israel. They are the only one left. There is hope. But if you have that answer to that question, how can we get? Because when we have no more fear, our guards are down, we don't have any care, we don't have any zeal, then will be no more. But I believe that there is in future an Ashur coming. When? I don't know. And because of that, and because of the ones that came before us and sacrificed and gave everything that they had, and they still do now, currently, we will someday do it. But the thing is that people like Assyria TV and other organizations continue to, with a small hammer, chipping on that huge rock ahead of us. Never give up. And we will never give up. We can see the end of the tunnel. So with that saying, thank you for watching. If you have any answers for that or any solutions to that problem. I would love to have that. We share that with the audience next program. But until then, bless you. Blessed be Ashur, the work of the Creator's hand. Mabqila, thank you very much. I'll see you next program. Bye.
Sheikhani.